My mom had just lost a child in 2010, recovering from it, a very traumatic event, and then you tell her point blank that you've killed her son and there is nothing she can do about it. And there was really nothing my parents could do about it. Hi, my name is Obianuju Iloanya. I am known as Obianuju, Chijoke's sister, if you know my story. I'm a feminist, a social justice activist, and a development practitioner. Currently, I work in the development sector. I work with Aspilos Foundation, a nonprofit that leverages technology and the power of community to empower young people towards economic independence and to hold public office holders accountable. I am the director of programs at Aspilos Foundation. And it's a beautiful life, isn't it?
Join us on this unforgettable journey as we highlight the remarkable experiences of our unsung heroes, tales of identity, resilience, and the enduring human spirit.
Looking at me, I didn't just get here by luck or by chance. It took a lot of work to get to the point where I am in life. And so I'll be sharing with you my journey to where I am right now, and hopefully it inspires someone. I don't know. I am not a motivational speaker or a public speaker. I'm just going to be telling you some of the things that I've had to navigate, and hopefully you do not have to navigate yourself, because the path to the point where I am right now is not fraught with roses or milk and honey, and I would like you to not go through the same things that I've gone through, but I also want you to learn lessons from me and hopefully make better decisions than I have. I am a middle child in any way you think about it. I have two elder brothers and two junior sisters. Or I had two elder brothers and two junior sisters. So I was the middle child and the first daughter. Then I grew up in a pretty comfortable home, that's what I would say. I went to a private primary school, one of the best in Anambra State, in Oka. And I went to one of the best secondary schools in Oka too, girls' secondary school, St. John of God Girls' Secondary School, Oka. And I pretty much lived in a bubble most of my life. There was the random times that there was no school fees. There was no money for my school fees or for our school fees, and we had to be sent home from school. And there was the times that I hawked, helped my mom out. My mom owns a restaurant in Oka, and so I had to help out sometimes, hawking, carrying things. But pretty much, there was never a time I slept without food in my stomach. There was never a time I was hungry. I was living a privileged life in my own bubble. And this continued up until 2012. But in 2010, I lost one of my sisters, my direct junior sister, Peace. We went to school, came back, and she just slumped and died. And it was heartbreaking. But that was the first time that I saw a crack in my family, because I had viewed my dad and I had viewed my parents as these powerful beings. I've never seen them vulnerable. I've never seen them broken. That was the first time I'm seeing them shaking like that. My mom cried like a baby. My dad wailed. He carried her. He offered everything to try to get her back alive, and we were told that this girl is dead. We went home and we prayed and we prayed and we prayed, and nothing happened. That night in March 2010 was the first time I saw my parents break down. I saw a crack in these superheroes that I know. But it was just a shake to my bubble, the bubble of privilege, the bubble of safety, or the cocoon of safety that I thought I had. And then in 2012, just after my mom's birthday in November 2012, my elder brother Chijoke, was arrested by the police in Ajali. And it is important to note that all my life I had assumed that we were something. My dad was pretty popular in Oka, so I thought we are a big deal. That day showed me that we were poor, we were underprivileged, we were nothing. And that for someone, especially as a woman born nameless, faceless, and in poverty, you do not have anything going for you in Nigeria. My mom decided to go bail my brother out because, of course, my dad was angry. He said he was not going to go because he had asked all of us to not step out after 6 p.m. and my brother disobeyed. My brother was just 20. Of course, he was going to disobey. Maybe, but that's what young people do, be disobedient. So he stepped out that night and was arrested by the police. They said that they were constituting public disturbance and were reported by a man and they were arrested. It was not just him and a couple of boys. And the lady whose child was being dedicated and the landlady of the compound that they were in, all of them were taken to the station. My mom met them at the station. And meeting them at the station, she met with the police officers and tried to bail my brother out. This is where you need to know your rights. Believe me, the first thing you should know as a young person in Nigeria is your rights. If you do not know your rights, you are done for. My mom was semi-literate. I should actually call her illiterate because she just finished primary school. She didn't finish her secondary school. She started at JS2 or 3 before she got married. And so she didn't know better. When she wanted to effect bail for my brother, she was told that she cannot effect bail because she's a woman. And she believed the police. Based on that, she started calling her brother, my uncle, to come help her bail my brother out. It was at that point that the police informed her that the boys were being transferred to Okuzu in Oka, in Anambra. Okuzu is in Anambra State. Now, if you are living in Anambra State or you've been in Anambra State within the period of 2010, 2015, you will know how deadly Okuzu is. Once your loved one is said to be at Okuzu, it is game over. You need to act immediately. So when she heard Okuzu, she reached out to my dad and said, see what they said, they're moving these boys to Okuzu. My dad left all his anger at home immediately and started rushing down to Okuzu. My mom went to meet him. When they got in, according to them, the officer in charge, James Wanford, told them that no boys were arrested. According to my mom, the man was pretty cordial with them at that first time. He claimed nobody was arrested or brought into the station. My parents believed him. As they were leaving the station, they saw my brother and the other boys being led in. So my mom raised the alarm and said, this is the boy we are looking for. This is the person we are looking for. And started calling my brother, Chijoke, what did you do? Why are you here? Chijoke, according to her, was just opening his hands like he doesn't know why he's here. James Wanford ordered that they be thrown out of the station. And they came back home. My dad was like, no, I'll go tomorrow. We'll sort it out. We'll go tomorrow. We'll sort it out. It's funny now because we all thought that it was going to be just something you can just go pay money or speak English and the child will be back. So they went the next day. They were not even allowed into the station. The second time, they were not allowed. The third time, they were not allowed. So they made, of course, the police were collecting money from them at the gate to feed the boy. That's what they said. So my dad had to make an appointment with the OC of SARS, that's James Wanford, to meet with him. On the day they were allowed to meet him, they met him and my dad said, I came for that boy that was arrested, Chijoke Iloanya. He was arrested with a couple of boys. On this day, they were brought in. James Wanford, according to my dad, looked at them and said, Oga, you are late though. You are very, very late. Because if it's those boys they're talking about, I've killed him and there's nothing we can do about it. My mom had just lost a child in 2010, recovering from it. A very traumatic event. And then you tell her point blank that you've killed her son and there is nothing she can do about it. And there was really nothing my parents could do about it. Really nothing. My mom slumped, my dad begged, and they were thrown out again from the station. My dad came back broken. I've seen my dad broken before, but that day, it was all over for me. I knew that there was no coming back from this. So what would a young girl of 17 do? What will I do at that point? Of course, I cried, I prayed, I tried to find coping mechanisms. So when they came and told us that the boy was still alive, that the man was just wanting to get money to get him bailed, that we should offer money, I was also like, Daddy, let us offer money, any money we have. Now, I've never seen ₦1 million in my life as at this point. But, and we don't have it. We didn't have up to ₦1 million at that point. So what do you do when you need money? You sell your assets. What asset did we sell? The land where peace was buried. That was the land my dad sold. And carried 3.5 million, about 3.5 million. It wasn't a bag. We saw it. We were scared of armed robbers coming to our house to collect it from us even. Carried, went to meet James Nwafor. He told him that this money is too small. But really, even if it was enough, that the boy is dead and that he doesn't want to see him ever again. And if he sees him again, he will shoot him. My dad came back and started smoking. Yeah, he picked up cigarettes again. My mom went to different churches all over Nigeria. She went to Winners, she went to TB Joshua, she went to Ebube Monso. There's another church in Imo State that a Reverend Father was doing. She went there. She went to different places trying to find justice, to find solution to Chijioke's issue. The only thing my parents did not do was try to find justice for Chijioke. What they tried to do was find solution, closure for the issue. Of course, they also went to human rights people. Those ones also took money from us so that they would advocate and get Chijioke out. Nothing happened. Lawyers, we had a revolving door of lawyers coming to collect money. We'll institute a case. Tomorrow, this boy will take it to court. 1 week, 2 weeks, you will not hear from them again. The money was going down the drain. My mom's shop became a shell of itself. She sold plastics in her shop just to fund it, just to try and get justice, try to get this money that is needed to get Chijioke out. Every day people had different things to tell her. She was an easy target for all the charlatans in Nigeria to siphon money out of her. School fees were late being paid, everybody had to readjust themselves. We experienced hunger for the first time in our house. Christmas, you can't even kill chicken. Things were pretty hard, pretty hard. And then there was also the culture of silence. There's a shame that comes with your child being arrested in Anambra then. See, the criminal justice system in Nigeria is clear. You are not guilty until proven guilty. You're innocent until proven guilty. In Anambra State, once the police arrests you, you are guilty until proven innocent. So my mom and us were pariahs for having a brother that was arrested by the police. What could he have done to be arrested by the police? What crime did this boy do that they did not release him? He must be a staunch criminal, not verifiable. Never was any case instituted against my brother or the other boys that were arrested. Nothing was heard. They just disappeared into thin air. But my mom and every one of us were pariahs. You go to market and people are murmuring and talking about you, snickering, and you can't really do anything. You just have to focus and buy what you need to buy. For people that will sell to you and then go home, So we lived that life until, other people got arrested, new stories came, our own became old story. My parents were still trying to find people that they would pay money to pray to. There was even a church that took his clothes, his entire shirt, trouser, shoe, everything, to pray for him that he will come back. We were hearing so many things. Then I graduated from school and I came to Abuja for NYSC as Lock My Harvey. And that was the turning point in my life. This is the first time I'll be leaving home to live alone. Primary, secondary, I would have maybe gone to university outside of Anambra. But because of the fact that we've lost two siblings, or my parents have lost 2 children within 2 years, nobody in my house was allowed to go to any other school but Nnamdi Azikiwe University. And you will go from home. No arguments. There is no night party for you. Departmental night, forget about it. SUG night, forget about it. What you do is go to school and come back home. If it's 6 o'clock and you're not in the house, problem. What I'm trying to explain to you is how one injustice, one thing can affect the life of everybody. There were so many opportunities that were open and available for me or my other siblings to thrive outside of Oka and Anambra State. But you see that my parents were scared. How can the children you have in your hands, the children that you've given birth to, nurtured to this age, be dying off? So they are trying to protect us the way they know how to do best. And so they denied us all these opportunities. All right. My sister stayed in the house for like 2-3 years before she got admission. She was angry. She could have gone to other schools. She must not go to university, but she was stuck. All right. This culture of pain stayed with us, and we were acting, or we are living our life based on the fear and the grief that we have. So we were not able to live outside of it or try to grow beyond our nest, my mother's nest. So NYSC was me leaving that nest. It was me leaving home and going out into the world and seeing a whole new world. When I finished from camp, I found my PPE and I started serving. In 2019, July 2019, I still remember, there was this series that was trending, When They See Us. And so I watched it. It's a tear-jerking series. If you watch it, you might actually cry, because it's a series that is a true life documentary, by the way, talking about or showing racial injustice and discrimination within the American criminal justice system. There were a couple of boys that were arrested by the police. They were looking for a rapist and a murderer. And these boys were arrested and charged, even though they were not necessarily seen at the scene. Also, they were minors. They were not even allowed representation by their parents or by the lawyers. They were interrogated and forced to give a false confession with the promise that when they confess to the crime, they'll be let go. The children didn't know better, so they confessed to the crime. So when I watched it, it resonated with Chijioke's story with the other boys. Like, what did they do to have been lost in the system? All right. But one of the reasons why that story inspired me was one of the boys, the mom. The mom was educated and she used her voice. She tried her best. She kept on telling the police officers, "You're not supposed to talk to my son without me being there." She advocated. In the course of it, she lost her job, but she tried her best. And it inspired me. This woman, knowing that she's a black woman, she had a minimum wage job, and she was willing to risk it all for her son. What about me? Why wouldn't I do the same for my brother? And honestly, being that I was very close with Chijioke growing up, I felt like I could do something for him. And this is the first time I saw what I could do, which is speak out about this issue. My parents were not there to stop me or tell me, if you say this thing, people would look at us somehow and all of that. So I made my tweets. It was out of pain. I made that tweet on Twitter and it had a lot of people retweeting, asking questions, and a lot of people started telling their Okuzu story. These are stories that hitherto has not been told before. My speaking out inspired other people to speak out about the atrocities of Okuzu SARS. Well, the police replied my tweet and told me that they would investigate, and they gave me a case number. It amounted to nothing. Then in 2020, I saw James Nwafo on Twitter, where he was advocating for people to join the Nigerian police force. I was obviously very angry at him. I asked myself, why would this man be advocating for people to join the police force when he wasn't himself an exemplary police officer? I felt like he doesn't have that right to. So I named him and called him out for what he did to my brother. People piled on him. A lot of people started demanding for investigation into who he is and what he did. He left social media. After that was just at the end of lockdown, and then in October, the boys that were killed at Uheli in Delta State were killed, and I decided that I was going to be part of the NSAS protest. Now, from this part of my life going forward, it has been the hardest for me as a person. Before, I was navigating the pain of my family and um the things that James Nwafo and the injustice that has been done to us cost us as a family. Now I am navigating it as Obianuju, and it cost me a lot. When I joined the NSAS protest in 2020, and I marched alongside Brian Dennis, Aisha Yesufu, Showore, we marched across Abuja, shut down everywhere, trying to get justice for victims and survivors of NSAS. The first thing that happened was the loss of my job. Of course, and I understand, right? In a way, I understand. It was a strategic decision by management to say we don't want a fallback of this year or a blowback of this year decision to be part of and to be visibly a part of this protest on us as an organization, and so they let me go. That was fine. That was okay. But it also was one of, I don't know if I should say I regret the decision to be part of the protest. Well, I don't. Honestly, I do not regret being part of the protest. But there were so many things that came with it that I did not really appreciate. For example, there were a lot of media scrutiny on my family and me and us. They came to our house, they did videos, they asked probing questions that were so painful and so traumatic. We answered, we responded, everything. With the belief that justice is on the roads, right? Protest has happened. The vice president has said, go to the panel. Justice is here. No, he was not. We didn't get justice. We went to the panel. The panel sat over 115 cases at the Anambra State Judicial Panel. At least 100 of them pointed at James Nwafo as the core culprit. Nothing came out of it. The panel recommendation never came out. Nothing came out of it. And so I had to devise other means. Media advocacy is all great and fine, but sometimes it doesn't get you what you want. So in 2023, I decided to do a one-person protest. And I did decide to do this one-person protest because of two things. One, I could not in all consciousness ask other people to come out to protest when I saw what happened to them at the NSAS protest. But two, I needed to use this voice that I now have, not just for myself, but but for other families who have also lost their loved ones. There is James Okafo, that also was killed by SARS in 2023 January. I felt that if I had advocated more about this issue after the NSAS protest and the panel had ended, maybe James would have been alive. But he died under almost the same circumstances of what happened to Chijioke. There is Okechukwu Onyemelue. These people do not have the social capital that I have grown to have, right? And my work within the development sector meant that I have had access to offices that other people do not have access to. And media has picked my case. And so I could be the light through which we can beam on other people's plight. So I took my placard with over 50 names on it, and I went to the National Assembly, and I stood and I protested. This is something that I advise every young person to actually think of doing. We all have passions. We all have things that we think are important to us. But oftentimes we feel like, what can I do about it? Do not wait to become Obianuju who has lost someone before you found your voice. No. Don't wait until it hits home. You can start advocating for things that you are passionate about now. Because I tell you, before Chijioke's incident happened in 2012, there were a lot of other young boys that were disappeared by the Nigerian police in Oka. There were a lot of other young boys. Because when I tell you that Okuzu SARS was a deadly SARS that my father heard about them being transferred and got worried, it will tell you that this was a regular occurrence. People have been going and not coming back. But because we felt that we were in a bubble, we were safe, we are not part of this, this is not our problem. We never advocated as a community, as individuals, as a family, we never spoke about it until it happened to us. So Henrik Bowen would say meddling is the only way to stay relevant. You need to meddle now before you become one of the statistics. Aisha Yusufu, my friend, will tell you that there are no survivors. We are all victims waiting to happen. You need to make the decision to speak now, to act now, to advocate for things that you're passionate about now, before you become one of the statistics. People sleep every day in Kaduna State, and sometimes they wake up to bandits attacking them, herdsmen attacking them. And if you don't speak up about it, you don't know if tomorrow it is your own community that will be attacked. All right? People people sleep every day and wake up and go to markets, nothing happens to them. Young girls go to school and come back. You don't know the day you will go to a church to read, right, and get raped, like the girl in Bini. People go to market and help their parents to sell. Young girls, you don't know the day you become Eze Favor that was shot by stray bullets. Ifoma Abugu was just in her boyfriend's house, and the police came, raided the house to arrest the boy. They didn't see him. They arrested Ifoma. Ifoma was not the suspect, if there was any. She was arrested. She was killed by the Nigerian police. In fact, autopsy shows that there were still living sperm in her body, which means semen in her body, which means she was raped even at death. You do not have to wait to become Ifoma before you begin to advocate for issues like this. And so it radicalized me, and I needed to speak out because I do not want other victims to keep on happening. In my head, there are thousands of names that are spoken in past tense that within my head, and I didn't want more to join. My placard was full. I didn't want more. So I stood there and I advocated. So the criminal justice system in Nigeria is based on precedents. You know, when precedents are set, it makes things a lot easier for others. So for me, my advocacy for where is Chijioke, or victims and survivors of police brutality and enforced disappearance with a case point of Chijioke, is to set a precedent. If I'm able to get justice for him, other families can just jump on the precedents that we are set with his case to get justice for themselves. Right now, the case is at Public Petition Committee at National Assembly, House of Reps. Hopefully, we get something from it. But this is Obianuju as a social justice activist, which, like I said, I became radicalized to be a social justice activist because of my personal experience with my brother. But outside of it, I am also Obianuju, a development practitioner. I am the director of programs at Aspilos Foundation. And getting to this point took a lot of work. It took a lot of intentionality to be at this point in my life. As young people, we find ourselves not knowing which path should we follow. And a lot of things would draw your attention. You want to be this, you want to be that, you are confused. I always tell people you can do as much as you are able to. Because outside of my advocacy for Chijioke, I had plans for myself. I had where I wanted to be in life. I had goals outside of that. And so I cautiously worked on it. This is not without sacrifice. For the times that I do protest or decide to do a one-person protest or every other thing, like going out to give interviews on behalf of Chijioke, I have to cautiously make sure that my work is done, or I have it in place how it will be done. This was intentional because I wanted to grow in my choosing career. I have a life of my own, and I feel like my brother, wherever he is, would also want me to jettison my life and just live for him. And also, my parents, my mom lives in abject fear of one day I will die, one day I'll get killed by the police or by the government because of my advocacy. So every day she's telling me, please, I don't want you to go protest anymore. I don't want you to speak about this anymore. I want you to calm down. You're a young woman. You should be focused on building your life. You should be focused on this. And so sacrifices I make for my career are also for her, because I want her to know that I can do both of these things comfortably. I can achieve these things comfortably. But I want you to know that in all of this, the biggest thing that has me going are my network of friends. I have a community of people who would go to war on my behalf. I have a network of people who would speak on my behalf, who will call my names in rooms where it is important for my name to be heard. These people have held my hands. The journey as a social justice advocate, as a feminist and as a development practitioner is tedious. Sometimes it can be lonely, it can be very hectic, it can be heartbreaking and backbreaking. But these are the people that I know that amongst them I can sit and cry and they'll still count me as a warrior. And that's what I want young people like myself to know, that you need to find your tribe beyond your family, outside of your family. You need to find people who can hold you at the times where you are breaking apart, at the times when your life feels like it is turning to mush. These are people that will hold you together and mold you back. You need to find that person or those people. You also need to be intentional about your growth. You need to take classes, you need to take courses, you need to apply for workshops and take it seriously. There's this belief that we have that you can just, I don't know, with the short attention span that we now have in our society, some people feel like, I can't do this. Actually, as every other person have said it, I know people have said this in a lot of times. If you don't do it now, 10 years from now, you still be that person that had not done it. So you just need to do it. Get focus on it and do it. There is a pathway to success, and that pathway is filled with hard work. That's the only way you can get to the point where you are. I am Obanuju, social justice activist, and I think that I have done very well at that, and I'm still doing a lot of work at it. I was just nominated for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. If I did not take my work seriously, both as a development practitioner and as a social justice activist, I will not be there. And yes, some days there are imposter syndromes that I feel like I'm not doing enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. I have to remind myself that even if this today the only thing I did was go to Twitter and write where is Chijioke, or even if today the only thing I did was go to Coursera and apply for a free scholarship to study project management, that is good enough. That is enough. If today the only thing I did was call people who are victims like myself and hear them cry to me and we share our grief and we console each other, that is enough. You need to take it one day at a time and consciously believe that you are doing enough. That's the only way you are able to achieve. The moment you begin to aggregate it, I did not do enough this week, I did not do enough yesterday, that is when you begin to doubt yourself. You must accept that you are giving it your best shot and really be giving it your best shot. And some days will be low, really low for you. It is normal. Some days it will be so sunny and so dry. But some days it will also rain so hard. You have to find a way to navigate it. Get your umbrella. For the sunny days and both for the rainy days, you need that umbrella. And they are your friends, they are your community, they are your network. Do not wait to be a victim before you begin to speak. So also, do not wait to be inspired by others before you take action. You can be your own inspiration. Choose you today to be an inspiration to yourself and to your community. And believe me, you'll be better for it. Thank you.
Amidst the diversity and complexity, one thread remains constant: the unwavering spirit of the Nigerian people. Through adversity and triumph, they continue to write their own stories of courage and hope.